Hello and welcome to the ADP eTime Basic User Tutorial. This is an introduction to the system for Acelero Learning Managers. In this tutorial, we'll cover logging into the eTime system, accessing your team's timesheets, working with your team's timesheets, so this includes identifying exceptions, transferring pay codes, transferring departments or facilities, adding comments, as well as approving PTO requests. Let's get started. In order to access the eTime system, you'll need to go in through the main ADP portal. In the Acelero desktop, you can use the eTime link from the menu at the left-hand side of the screen, or you can go directly to the portal at portal.adp.com and click on User Login. Here you'll need to supply the credentials that you got when you first registered for ADP iPay. If you have not yet registered for iPay, contact your local payroll administrator and they should be able to help you out. If you have registered for iPay but you have forgotten your user ID or password, use the Forgot Your User ID or Password links at the bottom. Once you're into the ADP portal, you'll see two links at the bottom of the welcome screen that will take you into the eTime system. Managers should use the Java link below. You will be presented with the eTime screen, including several red tabs at the top for navigation. In order to access your team's time cards, you can go into the Timekeeping tab and click on Reconcile Time Cards. Once you're in the Reconcile Time Card screen, this is what you'll see. First thing you should notice is the time period. This is important because ADP will only show you information relevant to the time period you've selected. So it's important to check here to make sure that the right days are being presented to you. Usually this will default to the current week, or the current day, or yesterday, or the current pay period. So somewhere around the current time. If you're looking for historical information, or if you're looking for a time period that's outside of the default, just click on that drop down to make sure that you've specified the right days. In the rest of the screen, you'll see a list of your direct reports, as well as any exceptions that have happened in the time period selected. This includes late-ins, early outs, unscheduled shifts, etc. In order to work with your team's time cards directly, you can select employees from this list by clicking on the relevant rows in this window. If you're selecting more than one employee, you can hold down Control to click on specific employees, or Shift to click on multiple consecutive employees in the list. Once you've selected the right employees, you can click on Time Card at the top left-hand corner to see their individual timesheets. Once you're in the individual time card view, you'll see something that looks like this. You'll see employee punches and time entry codes as they have been entered either by the employee or by the schedule itself. Exceptions, including late-ins, early outs, missed punches, etc., will be flagged with red outlines, so you'll see some of those on the screen. In the case of missed punches, on a day when there has been at least one punch, you might see an entirely red block where the punch is supposed to be. In the case of several missed punches or missed punch-ins and outs for a day where an employee was scheduled to work, you'll see the date highlighted in red instead. For those days that have time recorded but have an unusual pay code like PTO or jury duty or bereavement, those days will be flagged in blue just so that you can see them a little more easily. As a manager, you have the ability to fix missed or incorrect punches or transfer time where necessary. In order to do this, you'll need to click on the relevant date and punch cell, and if you need to change the time, you can do that there. For example, if an employee missed a punch or had to clock in later than they actually arrived. You can also add a comment on those punches that you've changed for record-keeping purposes. We'll go over how to add comments in a moment. In order to transfer hours to a different pay code, including PTO, jury duty, bereavement, etc., you can click on the Insert Row icon to the left of the date. So you'll be able to see this Insert Row icon as a small plus sign with an arrow right underneath it. If you're transferring pay codes within a day that an employee has also worked, you'll definitely need to add a row to be able to break out the hours worked from the different pay codes. So you'll add a row and select the pay code from the drop-down provided. Then you can enter the amount of time that's relevant to that pay code. Say an employee took 4 hours of PTO on a day on an unscheduled basis, so it wouldn't necessarily automatically appear. Then you can enter this using those two columns. If an employee has transferred departments or facilities within a day or for an entire day, you'll want to select the transfer box. So say an employee has transferred to a different department for an entire day. You'll click on the transfer box between the two relevant punches, see below, and click on Search in order to select the right department. This also includes facilities for those employees who are substitute teachers or for those employees who might float between sites at any given time. Afterward, the timesheet will appear something like the below, where you have the transfer department or facility code in between the two punches for the day. If you're working with time transfers within the same day, ADP eTime allows you to do this by actually allowing you to have a couple of different punch in and punch out times on the same row for its particular day for each employee. So if you're transferring time during this same day, you'll want to enter the transfer point in the second in column. Don't worry about the first out column just yet. And in the second transfer column, you'll need to enter the new department or facility using the search process that we just outlined. Then you can replace the actual punch out time in the second out column. So if the employee had just punched in and out without transferring, you can take the out punch out of the first column and put it into the second out column. Don't worry about filling out that first out column right now, because this will automatically appear when you save. Once you save the changes, the first out punch column will auto-populate in order to transfer the time smoothly for that employee. If you're adding a comment to a particular day's punch or transfer, this is very similar to adding comments to your own timesheet. You'll want to just right-click on the punch that you are looking to comment on. Then you'll be able to add comment using the option presented. Select Comments in the pop-up that appears and add your own freeform note below. When you're done, the comment icon will appear on the punch, and this means that it's gone through. Once you're satisfied that an employee's timesheet is correct, you can click on Save to make sure that all of your edits have gone through accordingly. If you're ready to approve a timesheet for the pay period, go to the Approvals tab on the top of the time card and click on Approve. If you approve a document and then realize slightly later that you need to go back and actually change something else, you can remove your approval to be able to work with that time card again. Just make sure to reapprove once you're done so that the payroll administrator knows that you're finished with this time card for the pay period. The second part of this webinar will be talking about approving PTO for employees. PTO requests should come to you in two ways. They should come to you via email, and they will be in the messages section of your eTime inbox. Once you have the message that an employee has requested time off, take note of three things. You should take note of the employee's name, the date of the request, and the amount of time requested. This could also come through as the type of request, whether it's an 8 hours time off request, which means that they work a full 8-hour day and are requesting a full day off or several days off, or it could be a specified time off request, which means that they're requesting a partial day, or perhaps they're a 7 or 7.5 hour employee and want to just request a full day off using that option. In order to find and approve this request, you need to go to the Scheduling tab up top and click on Schedule Editor. Once you're in the Schedule Editor, again, the first thing you're going to want to look at is the time period selected. So you'll need to select the time period that encompasses the time that's been requested for this time off. So if your time off request came sometime within the current schedule period or perhaps within the current month, maybe it's already displayed. If not, you'll want to click on Time Period, click on Range of Dates, and just select the range of dates that includes the time that's been requested. Once you've selected the appropriate range of dates, you should be able to find your requests in the Requests tab below. The two sections of the Schedule Editor tab are the Employee Schedules piece up top and the Comments and Requests section down at the bottom. If you're trying to work with the Comments and Requests section and feel that it might not have enough space for you to see all of your requests, a handy tip is that you can use the 3 dots between these two sections towards the middle of the screen. So you'll see those, and if you click on them and hold down and drag, you should be able to actually raise the Comments and Requests section so that you have more space to work with. Once you can fully see the Comments and Requests section, click on the Requests tab, and on the Requests tab you can select the request for all requests. If you remember what specific type of request you're looking for, this will be good. You can select that type. Otherwise, all requests will do. Then you click Reload to load all relevant requests for the selected time period. Once the request appears, you can right-click on the row to approve or reject this request. A notice will be sent via email to your employee once you've responded. And that's it. If you have further questions on how to use the e-time system, contact your program's local payroll administrator and they should be able to help you out. Thank you very much for watching this webinar.